The next intermediary concept is the one of variables. So variables are a way to keep a little bit of that state, right? So I mentioned earlier, all of this is stateless, right? So far, we've gone one event at a time. Sometimes there's bits of information that you do want to keep it, across state, and the variables are kind of the cheating way of doing it in a fairly basic way. They will allow you to take a piece of data from an event and record it for later use by the same or different rules. So I'll be able to set this variable, add this variable. I'll give it a name, and the DNR engine will remember this for I think for quite a long period of time, and across reconnects, across all of that stuff. And it will not just keep that one variable, but you can keep multiple values for that variable name. So all of the logic later on that you'll see will look at not just if a variable is equal to a specific value, but if one of the values in this variable is equal to this. You'll see it will make more sense as we step through the example. So let's go at this example. This is kind of the canonical example here. I have two rules, and what I want to detect is the there's a name for the rubber ducky, or the rubber ducky attack or something. A funny name. So the idea is I want to detect things that are executing that are unsigned, but they're executing out of a removable drive. Here's how that's done. So we have got two rules. The first one is we're saying, well, I want to record which drives are getting plugged in, which ones are external volumes, because I mean, sometimes it might be pretty straightforward in your company, hopefully, if you're mapping things very clearly. But sometimes you just don't know, drives kind of pop in various spots. And we're trying to kind of do this the easy way. So here we're saying, I want to detect an event that's volume mount. Fairly straightforward on Windows. Again, that's as simple as it gets, really, for DNR rules. The part that's interesting is the response component. So I want to add a variable. The variable name is going to be called external volumes. And here I will use a look back, as we just saw. So what this is saying is it's going to take the volume mount event. And that event contains, we can go in the doc, and we have examples of like all those events. It will contain a volume path, pretty straightforward. So that's going to be like, E colon. And we're going to take that value because we just saw a new volume mounting. So at runtime, so we're kind of assuming that this is some form of, removable drive or network drive or something like that. And we will add it to the external volumes. So as I mentioned again, external volumes is like the variable name, and we'll have multiple values in it. So we're just adding it. That means if two drives, the E comes in and then the F afterwards, they will both be in that variable name, right? It's a set. The completion of this logic that we're looking for is done here. So here we're saying we're doing another different rule, and we are looking for a new process. So process starting. An operator AND. So we will take two other operators and we will AND them together. So they both have to be true for us to match. And that will be the following. So the first one is we are saying, in this new process, I want to go in the path event, file is signed. And if it is the value 0, which means this is not signed, so this is an unsigned process, then we will take, so that will match. So, and here's looking at the other part, we'll go and take the file path in a non-case sensitive way. So that's a detail, just Windows. And we will say if that file path starts with, and then we can see here's a new syntax. So this is the syntax for variables. In this case, you can kind of get the same vibe as the look back, right? It's very similar, but in this case, we're saying I don't want to look back and compare it to another value in the event itself. I want to look it up against the values that I have in my variable. So I will use square brackets and say in external volumes. So if the file path starts with one of my external volumes, so E colon, I want this to match. So if this matches, that means, okay, we have an exe starting, it is unsigned, and it is on the removable drive. And then I will respond and just say, okay, generate an alert. Obviously, stating the obvious, but DNR rules support many different kinds of response. So, we saw report, which is generate an alert. We have a task to send a task to a sensor, but it could also be to tag that specific sensor. Like there's a bunch of things that you kind of could do around here. You could add a new variable, right? You could take now this exe path and stuff it in a new variable that's called unsigned removable processes. And then you could apply a different set of logic onto that. So you can see that, again, it's a theme in what we do, right? We always talk about the Lego blocks of security. We're not the widget that you can use in two different ways and like it will solve all your problems. Don't have to think about it. Those are pro tools, and you can start to see that with this, there's not a lot that you can't actually detect. And the beautiful part of it is that you can do that and you can customize it with your users. So, we've seen people deploy into production environments, with hardware, machinery, and stuff like that, where it's such a specific environment that they're able to create dedicated rules that look exactly for what they know is an anomaly in that network. And that's something that, you won't really be able to do with any other tool. So that is the variables.